Following up to the video that I made yesterday about the executive order Trump signed regarding vagrancy involving people who are homeless, who have substance use disorders, or who are mentally ill. I cannot keep up with all the comments. A lot of people have some really great questions, some really great points. I'm going to go over a couple, but first I want to address people who are saying that we're reading too much into this, we're fear-mongering. No, we're not. The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. This is happening, and we should all be very aware and cautious and watch what's happening over time, because there are people who are at real risk, and we need to protect ourselves. Dude, I am so tired. I got no sleep last night. Sorry. Also sent this EO to my therapist late last night. He was on it this morning. To paraphrase his email, he said it's definitely concerning and does blur the line on civil commitment versus institutionalization. One thing to note is that civil commitment is still placed on people by a therapist who has had specific training. Not just any therapist can pink sheet. Some states are white sheets, so not any therapist can do this. Anecdotally, police officers can use a blue sheet. Again, that might be a different color in your state. But from his experience, take this with salt, they do not seem to like doing it and will do a lot of things before that. But again, huge grain of salt. Lastly, the way state laws are written, pink or blue sheets can only hold someone for 72 hours. It requires, during that time, an assessment by a doctor, this would be a psychiatrist, a psychologist, to formally civilly commit somewhere, to a hospital or institution. Even then, this means a week or two in the hospital and then moving back to community treatment. But as the current state laws are written, though they do vary state by state, the whole point is to just stabilize you and then get you back into the community and not just hold you. However, Trump's EO suggests that would be possibly otherwise. Goes on to say, this is state law and procedure. These executive orders are weird, and I feel like more of a performance. I agree, to an extent. Okay, one of the questions I got was, what about HIPAA? Some people have put in comments. I'll try to see if I can find them. There were some rulings with the DOP decision that I guess upends that. I don't know the specific details. I don't have the emotional or mental bandwidth to go through all of these facts. DOJ already accessed a lot of our personal information, especially information about people on Social Security, specifically SSI and SSDI, which is disability income. Trump administration and Palantir are working hand in hand openly in broad daylight that they want to make a master list to have access to all of your information, including your medical information, diagnoses, insurance, everything. If they can get that access, HIPAA is not going to matter. What makes someone homeless? Per HUD, the McKinney-Vento Act, and the HEART Act, the definitions are as follow, and you'll have to pause to read. Category 1 is literally homeless. 2 is imminent risk of homelessness. 3, homeless under other federal statutes. And 4, fleeing or attempting to flee domestic violence, which also includes SA, stalking, and other life-threatening conditions that occur to an individual, their family, or put a child at risk of harm. And what those other categories mean, aside from literally homeless, is that you are federally defined as homeless, even if you are living with a friend, or the DV, which is under the Violence Against Women Act, or VAWA. You could still be in your home, but you're attempting to flee. Doesn't mean you have to actually leave, but you are in the process of trying to leave because your home is no longer safe. You are defined as homeless. So where are we going to put everybody? How is the U.S. going to afford this? We're getting rid of Medicare, Medicaid. You guys have to understand this has nothing to do with health insurance. They don't care. Again, pause to read. It looks like that Trump just today, this was posted today on July 25th, unveiled a program to use money from Congress appropriated for emergency shelter to be used for migrants released from DHS custody to instead detain people in state-run prison camps. What did I say about the best predictor for future behavior? DHS and Kristi Noem already did this. They inappropriately moved funding to provide funding for ICE. So here they are, doing it again. If you think that this isn't going to apply to this EO, you are naive, in denial, or you're fooling yourself. So what are those camps, detention centers going to look like? One good example is the GEO Group. They are the largest for-profit prison systems in the United States. They own ICE detention centers and run them through a contract with ICE and DHS. They also operate a few mental health facilities. Please Google everything that I'm saying. Don't rely solely on my word. So the best thing I can suggest for you guys to do, look up your laws in your state regarding civil commitment. I know that legally is difficult to understand and very wordy. I normally don't suggest using AI like ChatGPT, but if there's something you don't understand, I would put in the exact quote, copy and paste it into ChatGPT and ask it to explain it. But take the explanation with a grain of salt, because ChatGPT is not an attorney and it may not get everything right. But it will help give you an idea of what's being said so that you can understand the overall view of what's going on and be able to educate yourself, because education is power. The other thing I like to say is that having a plan prevents panic. This is scary. We're all panicking for good reason. But if you can be prepared with whatever it is you're going to do, I don't know. It's all very individualistic as to what you can and cannot do. Try to come up with something for yourself. And in the meantime, try to focus on what you can control right now. And for me, I'm going to go clean my bathroom because that's what I got. It needs to be cleaned, and that's what I can do. I'm going to try to pay attention to this as well and continue to share information as I come along, as I come across it, and just do my best, because that's another thing that I can control, and it at least helps me feel like I'm doing something and that I have a little more power over this to try to help educate you, give you a breakdown and overview so that you can understand what's happening. And that's all I got. Just stay safe and stay vigilant and take care of yourself.